Cayman. You can find it as a future beach as well. This is about a 10-foot kayak. It's a little bit over, not enough to call it 10 and a half. I think it's 10.4 or something like that. A little bit done as compared to stock. I've had about a year here, so, and I'm going to set it up and show you the setup as far as gear and packing and the little mods that I've done to this from the stock that you get, and hopefully it's informative. One of the first mods I did was put in this handle here. It's working out really well when you're doing a lot of kayaking in rivers, especially in Texas, whether it be hill country or further up northwest like in the Brazos or Biloxi or somewhere. You're going to be doing some dragging every now and then. The way those rivers ebb and flow as they go deep, and they'll the rock bottoms will start to pile up, and then pretty soon you're passing sandbars and dragging. Well, this little guy was not fun to drag with. Putting this handle on here helps me get a real good grip and drag it as far as I need to. If you get a kayak with one of these hatches, I like mine a lot, but they'll come a lot of times with a dry bag in here that hooks up underneath these. So pop those off, take that dry bag out, and get yourself all that storage room down there, because you're going to need it for water, tents, all that stuff. I know a lot of people like these rail systems. I've yet to find an accessory that I just have to have that would mount to these. I've thought about mounting my tackle box to it. I've just not found a real good use for them yet. But I've kept them on there. I might use them in the future. I've got one tie down here, one over there, and then on the back you can see that we've got some tie downs there and there as well. So I can take those ratcheting straps that I have now, put one on the back side of the rear, one on the front side of the front tie downs, and end up with a really good solid anchoring to the top of a Jeep or whatever you got. You're going to want either a clip like this or one in some sort of oar clip or attachment, so you can keep it securely on your boat, especially if you're dragging through the river. You don't want that oar just knocking around inside there, or I keep mine on a leash as well. It got tiresome to have it dragging behind me, especially in current. So get you something where you can secure your oar to the actual body of your kayak. One of the next mods I did, or the latest mods rather, was to put me some nice little hooks down here to tie on to. So now I can use this back deck, and actually when I have it all outfitted, I'll show you how it's rigged up, where my bungee over there in my storage area will actually come out and connect to these back hooks to hold down some equipment. I have a few up front too. I don't really plan on using them right now, but I wanted the option to be able to tie something down that front deck as well. But this back deck was just unused space last year on the river, and if I'm going to do 4 more days out there, I'd like to have a little more room to work with. So now we have everything on it, every piece of equipment, and basically every piece of storage and everything I use on this kayak attached. Guess we'll just start at the back. You can see where I use that back deck now with those hooks. Put my big dry bag back there. It's got sleeping bag, toilet paper. I've got my crate right in front of that with my PVC rod holders. This little niche back here, I keep a machete that I can get to from when I'm sitting up front, and I can reach out around behind me and grab that if I need to, you know, hit a water moccasin or something, whatever might be around there. Inside, I don't have any food packed in here. I'm not leaving today. I keep my little tackle box on top. I reach just kind of around my head and grab it and bring it up front when I need to. A lot of times it just rides up there with me as well. But in here, I have my first aid kit. This is what I call my dry food cooler. For energy bars and potatoes and things like that. Canned veggies for eating. I got a poncho over there in case it rains, shoved up in there. Got me a little baggie there for my kind of on deck effects, like a hat, lanyard for my glasses if I feel like I need it, and different things like that. Just extra pair of water shoes, just little knickknacks like that that you kind of need quicker access to, and that you don't want to get mixed up with your cleaner sleeping clothes. Yep, and then another mod I did to this crate is to cut out this little bit here. It's got a bit of an L. It's probably hard to see. You probably can't see it at all. It's black, but it butted up against here, so when I opened my ingle, it would kind of push everything back. But I got that cut out there, so now when I open my ingle, which I'll do that, it just fits right back into that little slot and doesn't move everything around. Any kind of cooler like this, though, the injection molded coolers are going to be the way you want to go. They're going to give you the most life out of your ice that you get. Don't put dry ice in them unless they literally say they're specifically made for it. The higher end Ingles and Yetis and stuff will all do that. You can go get a crazy expensive Orca and all around ice cream in that thing if you wanted, but that one does just fine. Let's see, let's go around the other side and I'll show you where I put my anchor. It sits around in that same pocket that my machete sits in on the other side, except I use my left hand to get to this, and I can basically just toss it over the edge and tie it off on that cleat if I want. A lot of times I'll tie it up here on my little paddle clip, and it works real well for that anchor. I also use a paddle leash. If you're going anywhere, you want to have a leash on your paddle more than likely. If you're going anywhere with any kind of current, because last thing you want to be is literally up a creek with no paddle, because that would be no fun. PFD goes in between my seat and my cooler, and depending on how I have that adjusted, I can lean back different ways. I'll sometimes just put it up there and chill out and sit up straighter, or if I kind of feel like lounging around and kind of a sitting down, couch potato style, I'll put it like that and just really just kind of hang out. You want a decent seat. Mine's not the best. It's also not the worst. It's got a good firm back to it and a good pad on the bottom. You want something fairly thick, especially if you're doing a multi-day paddle. Up there is a little bitty dry box I carry to keep a few small effects in. I keep like bug spray, anything like that up there. Sunscreen, anything that you kind of use over and over. I'll keep a little flashlight in there, and sometimes lighters and stuff like that. Got a rod holder there that goes in the little star mount, and it works pretty good. It actually came with this kayak, because it's a really good rod holder. I've got a couple back here that I've never been happy with, and that's kind of what brought me to make these add-ons on my crate back there. But this one in the front works really well. And that really is about it gear-wise. Everything else goes in this hatch. I'll usually put 3 gallons of water in there, 2 on the side, 1, 2, and then 1 further up, and I really like putting the water that way, because what that allows me to do is get a little more weight up front. And if you're in any choppy water, having that little bit of, an extra little bit of weight up there, you can break those waves and hit that wind a lot easier. You're not sitting there popping up and down the whole time. My tent rolls up and fits down kind of the center column inside there, and that works real well. I also keep a couple trash bags handy, and typically I'll just keep them in there and grab them and throw my cans or whatever in there and toss them back in the hole. And that's about it, but works out well. Got a lot of good use out of this setup.